Hello, YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, my big audience is on TikTok, so I'm always looking at my phone because I'm doing the live there too. But I've got some new equipment coming in tomorrow, so I should be looking at you also. We'll figure it out. I mean, my daughter's figuring it out for me. Hi, Tamara. How are you? While we're waiting, I would love to know the ages of your kids. Most people who are on lives have toddlers, but I'm very interested. How old are your kids? Very interested in that. So how old are your kids? Oops. I'm just asking how old your kids are while we're waiting. 11:38. One, you've just got one 1-year-old. Excellent. You got lots of time then. Lots of time to learn and get it right. You only get one go at kids. I know some of my clients say, it'd be so much easier if we had two families. Practice on the first one. And then, 13 and 7. Okay. Teenagers are my favorite age. My son is 3. My son is 3 and daughter about to be 2. So you got little ones. Excellent. On Halloween. Oh, okay. Just one I'm trying to learn. Yeah, it's a learning curve. Oh, your kids are 44, 43, and 40. Okay, so you're kind of finished then. Yeah, they probably don't have many tantrums. I'm the 44-year-old. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm just asking how old your kids are while we're waiting. I'm also filming on YouTube at the same time. That's where these are saved. I have an 18-year-old. Wish I knew then what I know now. Yeah. I practiced on tons of kids before I had my own. It helped a lot. 6 months old, 1-year-old, 12, 7, and 5. So you're not the teen year yet. You got kids and tween, and one tween. 2, 1, and a new-year-old. Woo. Wow, you're very busy. That's my most challenging client, is when I get someone with a newborn and toddlers, because I can only push that mom so far. I can only ask so much of her. She's tired. They're my biggest challenge. And I deal with crisis and abuse and stuff, but the mom with a newborn and a toddler is, yeah, such a hard phase. Absolutely. Very, very tired. Yeah. I get hired by a lot of new moms, or moms who have a toddler and a newborn. So we have to come up with systems, and a lot of it is planning for tomorrow. Do you have experience with autistic toddlers? Yes, I do, but I only discuss that in coaching. So if you want my help, you have to hire me for that. That's more of a specialty, and I don't discuss that here because there's no general advice for that. Each child is very unique, and we have to find unique ways of dealing with them. So that's coaching. If you're interested, it's in the link above. Up above, if you go, I didn't even introduce myself yet. I'm just right into it. So yeah, my name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. I've been working with kids for 51 years now. Considering I'm only 25, that's pretty amazing. Anyway, I always think that's funny. Why do I think that's funny? No one else ever laughs. Sometimes you just say something for yourself, right? So, but anyway, if you go in the link above, that is a bullet form, everything I've got on my website, just to make it easier for you. And you've got my coaching. If you want to hire me, that's done on Zoom. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. It's all done on Zoom. And also my courses are in there. I have a big course to how to give respect to get it. That's how to set yourself up as a leader. That's a 5-week course, or my little mini toddler courses. Also, my behavior board is on there. It's completely free. So you can sign up for that if you want. It teaches you how to give respect to get it. Okay, I don't think I know what is your education. Okay, I don't really have one. I was going to be a child psychologist. I tell that story quite often. I was about 20 years old, and I'd already worked with tons of kids, like volunteering and babysitting and volunteering in daycare centers. I started when I was 11 years old, volunteering in daycare centers. And they used to say to me, how do you do that? How do you get respect? And they all think you're fun and great. I didn't know how to answer that. Anyway, I thought, well, I should be a child psychologist. A few people told me that. So anyway, I joined this, I signed up for this course, and they kicked me out after about a week because I asked too many questions. They didn't want to be questioned. And because what they were telling, it was just garbage. This was like 40 years ago. I'm sure they're better now. But it was absolute garbage. It was all this holier than thou, the authority figure stuff. I think that's crap. I never talk to kids like that. Anyway, so yeah, they kicked me out because the other students were asking me questions too. So thank God I never did that. So I'm kid taught. I've just been working with kids, volunteering with them for and working with them for 51 years now. That's a very long time. They taught me everything. I've never learned anything I've learned about kids. I've never learned from an adult or a book or a course or anything. Kids taught me everything. And when I was mentoring troubled teens, they're the ones who said, you got to teach this, Lisa, because no one had ever talked to them the way I had. I teach leadership, how you can be a leader. And we're focused on making kids feel good about themselves. That is the whole goal for me. I want kids to feel good about themselves. If you're the source of that, holy moly, you're just set up as a leader like that. They want to please you when they're children, and when they're teenagers, they just don't want to disappoint you. And they'll tell you everything. Okay, let's get going with your parenting questions. I'm also filming on YouTube. I've got some new equipment coming. So YouTube will also see me like this rather than that, because on YouTube, I'm always facing you. On TikTok, so yeah, all I ever see is the side of my face. So the new equipment's coming tomorrow. So if you want to watch replays, they're all on YouTube. My 2-year-old is regressing, no longer cleaning up after himself and whining a lot. Actually, he's not. He's progressing. He's starting to get a mind of his own. Before, he was your mind. So now he's just starting to get a mind of his own. What he's doing now sounds more normal than just doing whatever you said. He's sort of thinking, you know what? My body doesn't have to do what she says. I can use my own mind and do my own things. That's what's happening. My son is almost 18 and hates me. I have racked my brain to figure out what I've done. I give up. You wouldn't believe how often I work with this. Okay, I'll tell you a story. If you want to hire me, that's coaching. And it's 5 sessions at least. I teach how to connect with your teenager. Teenagers are my favorite age. I'm going to tell you a story. One of my clients, and I get permission from my clients to tell these stories. I don't tell names, obviously. But anyway, this story was adorable. This mom had a 16-year-old son, and it was 2 parents, but they had a 16-year-old son, and the mom and the son had never really got along. They never connected, and they were at war. Every night, they bought him a brand new car. They had money, so they bought all their kids new cars when they turned 16. So they bought him a car, but he didn't have his license yet, and they wanted him to get his license. So every single night after dinner, the mom and the son would go out for a driving lesson. They just about kill each other. The mom nagged him the whole time. He'd said, shut up, get off my back, and he said a lot worse than that. So I said, okay, here's what you have to do. On the behavior board with teenagers, we call it an accountability chart. By the way, that's free up in my link, the behavior board. Anyway, we call it an accountability chart. And your rule is no yelling. That was the mom's rule. So if you break that rule, that night when you go out for your driving lesson, you cannot speak unless it's like, look out for that train. It has to be life or death situation. And she goes, well, I can't do that. I have to coach him as we're driving. And I'm saying, no, you don't. Trust me, you don't. So anyway, she didn't, because she told me he'd been doing this for weeks and everything. So anyway, she fought me on that. And I said, no, you have to. That is your rule. Make sure you yell, because you want to make sure that you cannot speak the next time you go out for driving lessons. So anyway, they went out that night, and she thought, I'm never going to be able to stop talking. So she put masking tape on her mouth as a reminder to herself not to talk. As she's getting into the car, she saw the rear view mirror. He didn't see the masking tape until this. She opened up the car in the side passenger, in the passenger mirror. She saw herself with this tape on her mouth, got the giggles, started laughing, and the tape started flapping in her breath. And her son saw this, and they cracked up. They ended up laughing throughout the entire driving lesson. And then we worked further with her on how to connect with them even further. But that was the start. But she says, and she was crying when she said this. She goes, that's the first time I've ever enjoyed my son. And she goes, and I know it's the first time he's ever enjoyed my company. So it was the start of a beautiful relationship. So yeah, your son doesn't hate you. You just got to connect with him. If you want my help, you can hire me. That's all above in the link. God, she was cute. I wouldn't have thought to do the tape. I thought that was really cute. That was her idea. I just said, don't talk. She thought up the tape one. And by the way, lots of parents have had to do that. That's not just her, but yeah. What's your opinion on love and logic? I haven't got a clue what that is. By the way, anything I know, I've never looked at a book and I have no idea what's out there. Kids taught me everything I know about kids. I went right to the source. I've worked with hundreds of kids over 51 years. So kids taught me all this. I went right to the source. How could I learn any of this from an adult or a book? I just didn't. Yeah. How can I work on this? Now just keep watching me. If you're the parent of the 2-year-old and 6-month-old, we've been working on sharing. Oh, you can't teach a 2-year-old how to share. You just have to manage the toys. You cannot teach a 2-year-old how to share. Not with a baby, for sure. They're going to be able to outpower that baby. So no. Yeah. If you can teach a 2-year-old how to share, maybe you can share that with the rest of us. But yeah, you've got to manage the toy. You got to manage the play yourself. You got to be right there, or have the baby separate, or they both have the same toy. You have to manage that. You have to take control of that. Don't expect them to be able to do it. Your expectations of toddlers are often out of whack. That's what makes them difficult. Whereas parents who have older kids that hire me and they also have toddlers, they never discuss the toddler. They already get it. Oh, toddlers are crazy. They're just forming. They get it. So that's why it's only new parents who, if your toddler's your oldest one, that's why you ask questions. I'm going to tell you my 5 top tips for raising toddlers. Number 1 is child-proof your entire home so you never have to say no. Number 2 is get a toy rotation system in place so that they're never bored. Number 3 is you enter their world to connect with them. You do not connect with the 3-year-old at the nail salon. You go to the park and roll down the hill. So watch how they play and mimic them. Get into their world. They will look at you differently. So that's the start of your leadership. They're just going to start looking at you differently. Number 4 is stop trying to figure them out. They don't make any sense. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They have 1 marble and some tumbleweed in here. They're just forming. They don't make any sense yet. They don't have sense yet. That frontal lobe is just sort of a little feather sitting in there. It hasn't formed yet. And number 5 is stop with the mini therapy sessions. All these discussions with toddlers, they're garbage. I know they're trendy, but they're absolute trash. They are for the mother. They were invented for the mother to make her feel good about herself. They have nothing to do with the toddler. Toddlers are about consistent corrective actions. If you want to teach them something, consistent corrective actions, not words, because they learn through repetition and it's all actions. That is their language. I'd sure like to talk to the person who invented use your words. Boy, I'd like to talk to them. What a patronizing thing to say. Where did they ever come up with that? And it's popular, but that makes the mom feel good. It has nothing to do with the toddler. Anyway, the whole Placer style parent style that's out right now, that was invented for moms who felt guilty. It's not about the kids. It's about the moms. I could go on and on and on and on and on about this. I've been studying parenting for years and years and years. And when that style first came out, I thought, boy, that was invented for guilty moms. It has nothing to do with the kids. That'll never take off. It took off because they're feeding the moms, not the kids. Yeah, it's frustrating because I have to repair that damage in coaching. Okay, how to correct a toddler who's biting people, including new sister. You just have to keep distance between them. You have to protect the newborn. That's all there is to it. It's physical, it's demanding. So I have a whole little mini course on that if you're interested. It's toddlers who bite, hit, etc. It's up in the link above. It goes into great detail about that. They're consistent corrective actions. And don't even ask me if you can, how to prepare a toddler for a newborn. You can't. How could you possibly prepare a 2-year-old for how their life is going to change when that new baby comes into the house? Oftentimes you'll see parents in the hospital and the little toddler's holding the new baby sister, whatever. And you go, oh, he's going to be a wonderful big brother. And get him home, get that baby home, and he throws that baby on the floor. He's like, oh, I didn't know it was coming home. They just don't get it. It's loud, it stinks, it takes mommy and daddy away from them. Yeah, it's only normal to hate that newborn. So you just have to protect the newborn. What do you think of gentle parenting? I make no comment on that. I talk about the pleaser parent style. I don't know what's under that umbrella. I know what that style encompasses to me, but I am very careful. I never studied gentle parenting or any other method because if I'm criticizing or critiquing something, I don't know what it is. I don't know what that specific thing is. I don't know who teaches it. I've never looked at, why would I look at anyone else? Kids taught me all this. So yeah. Books can show examples and ideas, but also not blaming the baby can help the toddler not shoot you. I don't know. My pediatrician said save the no's for penalties. Anything that could get your kid kicked out of a, no idea what you mean. Do I tell her no when she bites? The word no means nothing to a toddler. It's just the start of, hey, I'm going to have a consistent corrective action coming up. No, and then you do a consistent corrective action. That would be like if the police, as you sped past going 100 miles an hour, and they said, no, it doesn't work. We all need consequences. So do toddlers. Their consequences are actions in the moment, consistent corrective actions in the moment. If I, as an adult, was not prepared, a toddler won't be. Absolutely. How on earth can you prepare a toddler for what's going to happen when a newborn comes into the house? That is a total. Anyone who says that you can prepare a toddler for that, maybe you might want to look at someone else. Look at someone else's advice. It makes no sense at all to me that a toddler could possibly understand how a new baby's going to change their life. A 2-year-old. How could they possibly comprehend that? Give an example of a corrective action. If a toddler hits another kid with a toy, you say no and you take that toy away. I would give it to the other toddler, by the way, and restrain the hitter so they can't get that toy. I'd go no and hand it to the other kid and then restrain that one. Boy, they learn. They learn very quickly. It's all up to you. You got to stay calm as anything. I'm very calm. I'm whispering. When I discipline, I whisper. Say no and then hand it over. Whoops. What is that for? Oh, right. Okay. Sending a newsletter out. That's my reminder. Okay. If you're not on my newsletter list, that's in the behavior board up there. At what age does a child start to understand sharing? They can learn to share at the age of 3. They get it when they're 3 3/4. 3 years and 9 months is a turning point. That is when they have the ability to understand or to have empathy. They can actually understand that other people matter too. They're not the only ones in the world. It's 3 years and 9 months. They can comprehend sharing and actually do it willingly. They might not, but they have the ability to. But at 3, you can teach them how to do it, but they're just doing it because there's a consequence if they don't. Yeah. That's when 3 is when they start to be able to reason. They can actually think before they act. Under that, they're just all feet, no brains. They're just forming. Imagine if you were 2, you've only been in this world for 2 years, and for the first year, you were a potato laying on a mattress. Like, what context of the world do you have? How do you understand? Maybe I shouldn't bang my head on the floor. I might get a concussion and go to the hospital. They don't get that stuff. Your best parenting advice. Everything I teach, I'm teaching backwards. What I mean by that is my specialty is teenagers. My goal is always to get you there. And so you can sail right through the teen years like I did. Those are the real challenging years because when mistakes are made, they can be big ones. That's the thing. You make mistakes with little kids, they're just little mistakes. You know what I mean? They don't affect their whole life. But as teenagers, they can make life and death poor decisions. So yeah, I'm always trying to get you there. But my best word of advice for all ages is actually, I have so many things. I would say your focus should always be making your kids feel good about themselves. Kids who are acting up, being disrespectful, hitting other people feel like crap. Their self-esteem is in the toilet. If you direct children to make good decisions and be kind, their self-esteem will soar. Also have fun with them. So you make them feel good about themselves. Part of that is having fun with them, enjoying them, and then also become a really good listener. Don't tell your kids what to do. You just listen. And then you say, so what are you going to do about it? Okay, well, what do you think? Let's talk about it. So teach problem solvers. My mom, if I was tiny, I can remember this. Mommy, such and such happened. What should I do? She always said the exact same thing in the same tone of voice. Well, I don't know. You're a smart girl. You can figure it out. And then we talk about it. I always thought I was solving all my own problems from the age of 3. She was right there. We were discussing it. She was asking my advice, what I thought I should do. She goes, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then I'd say, well, what did you do when you were little? And she goes, well, I think what I would have done, so she was guiding me along the way. I had a fat head. I thought I was so great. My mother was really good at that. Plus, and I looked up to her. She was my mentor. She was the leader. My dad was the pleaser. My mom was the leader. I love them both the same. I adored my father. He was a sweetheart. He died when I was young, unfortunately, but my mom was definitely the leader. She was the one that I was trying to please. I didn't have to do anything to please my dad. He couldn't see any fault in me. So he was just he thought I was wonderful. My mom saw everything. Like I was like that with my kids. I saw all their good points, their bad points. I adored them, but I was definitely the leader. My ex-husband was the pleaser. It's usually one leader and one pleaser. It's usually the way it is. If there's an authority figure, you can't have a leader and an authority figure together. It doesn't work. But there's usually a leader and a pleaser. You can have an authority and a pleaser. You can have a leader, which is what I teach, and a pleaser. But you can't have an authority and a leader because the kids will ignore the authority and follow the leader, and the authority will change their ways. It's just the way it is. God, that was confusing. I confused myself. If I confused myself, I probably confused you. Sorry about that. Oh, my son will be 3 in November. Is it normal for him to not understand when others are upset, find it funny? Yeah, it's completely normal in that they don't have empathy yet. They don't develop that until they're 3 years old and 9 months. They don't really develop empathy. They can be kind. They can do kind things, but they do it it's sort of, they do it because they get rewarded for it, sort of, or they don't want to be punished if they're not nice. But they really can understand empathy when they're 3 years and 9 months. How do you manage if you're a single mom in regard to I was the single mom. I was a single mom. But if you're the leader, they always follow your lead anyway, even if you're not with them. Okay, so they're under your umbrella. They like themselves when they're with the leader. They like themselves because of the leader. So they're like that wherever they go. By the time they're 3, 3.5 to 4, they carry that leadership umbrella everywhere they go. And my ex-husband was the pleaser, as my father was. Gave in more, was the one that kids would push around a bit more. So not if I was around, that's for sure. But anyway, and same with my mom. It's just because when the leader's around, they don't do that. But as long as you're on the same page, like the pleaser can never disregard the leader. Like my dad would have said, well, let's check with mom. My ex-husband would have said, do you want me to tell mom? So long as they're deferring to the leader, then that you're still on the same page, and that's fine. There's rarely 2 leaders. There's usually 1 leader and 1 pleaser. It's just because it's kind of nice that you balance each other out. It's not a bad thing. Sorry, I just got to read a message. Sorry, it's just my daughter. If my kids are messaging me, I drop everything. Priorities. Okay. Okay. School drop-off tantrums has to be carried back by principal, screams, cries, etc. Not that uncommon. But make the drop-off like a dump and run. Just say, see you later. I'll see you later. We'll go get ice cream later. Have a good day and we'll go get ice cream. Leave on a positive, but fast. The more you drag it out, the more upset you get, the longer that's going to happen. At 4 years old, it means it must work. What I mean by that is it has to upset you. They have to see that because if they're still doing that at 4, if it's been going on for a while at 4 years old, it means it works. Kids at 4 only do what works. By the age of 3.5 to 4, they only do what works. So it must have worked in the past, or still working, that you get visibly upset. They can tell you're upset. So it's working. Or you might have at one time even taken them home. I've had clients who've done that. Well, I had to take them home, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Let's start from scratch here. Okay, how to be a calm leader. I try my best. If you want my course, there's a whole course in the link above there. How to get respect in 5 weeks. If you're interested in that, it goes through everything. Because people say, well, how do I be a leader? Well, it takes 5 weeks. It's a big course, or coaching one-on-one. The coaching is just the next level up. The course you can get, if you're just sort of going through average, normal, everyday stuff, that course gets you almost the same results as coaching. But if you're in crisis or got teenagers or bigger stuff, coaching would get you way better results. But that course is just for the everyday stuff that everyone goes through: bullying, sex education, discipline, bedtime battles, meal. It goes through all that day-to-day normal stuff. So yeah, I was amazed when I first did that course. I just finished it, I think, in April. And when I did that, I was amazed at the results people were getting. That sometimes people hire me after that course when they realize, well, wait a minute, our kids have been abused, something happened. If it's something bigger, they'll go through the course and then they'll often hire me for some sessions afterward because they've got all the base knowledge there. It actually helps with coaching because they've got all the base knowledge. But yeah, so coaching is just that next level up. But the course is really good. People are getting great results with that. Better than I thought. Because I always thought, how could a course be as good as coaching? But if you've just got normal stuff, it pretty much is. Okay. Yeah, I like that one. Okay. From Kayla. Oh, you've been here before. 2.5-year-old is great out and about until we go to leave. How to make leaving smooth, even with a warning. You don't make it smooth. You handle yourself. You make sure you deal with it well. I don't care what kids do. Their behavior is really none of your business. I know that sounds like a silly thing to say, but you can't worry about it. Just deal with it. So what if they have a fit? Drag them in the car, strap them in, kicking and screaming, and drive off as if nothing ever happened. So you said even with a warning. Yeah, I do suggest you give them a warning. We'll be leaving in 5 minutes. Okay, I used to do that with my son. We'll be leaving in 5 minutes. Okay, mommy. And then I'd go to take and believe, and he'd scream and kick and everything. So yeah, I just pretended like it wasn't happening. Got him in the car, strapped in, and off we went. Well, okay, you're going to hate my answer. This is Allie Joy. Just 2-year-old loves to throw everything and pour liquids over the floor. Anybody? Why on earth would a 2-year-old have access to liquids that they could pour? They would have a sippy cup that I would be holding. If they put up a stink, I would just go like that. If they're really thirsty, they'll take it while you're holding it. So yeah, you're giving them power. It would be like saying, well, my 14-year-old's always driving off cliffs. Well, you mean you give a 14-year-old a car? And you know what I'm saying? Like, you're setting them up for failure. If you know they're going to throw those liquids, why are you giving them that power? You gave them the gun and the bullet kind of thing, right? So I wouldn't do that. I had a whole bunch of analogies: a car going off a cliff, a gun and a bullet. I'm no good at those. I should stop saying that. I said one once. I mixed it up so bad, I didn't even know what I meant at the end of it. I got the giggles so bad. When his cousins have the cups, he steals them. You got to be in control of your toddler. So you're saying you have no control. Cousins are over. You have no control. Yeah, I can't help you with that. If you're relinquishing control to the cousins and your kid, I can't help you with that. Leadership's about you being in control. You have to work for this. You got to take control. Be in charge. And why do the cousins have drinks around the house? Why does he have access to his cousin's drinks? Why is he not in a high chair when everyone's drinking? I would manage. I'd be fixing that up right away. You're giving him so much power and you're blaming the cousins. You're blaming him. It's on you. It's all you. My kids are always fighting help. Usually I say on TikTok, my TikTok answer is separate them. As soon as they fight, say, you come with me to the oldest one. Take them with you in the kitchen while you're doing dishes. Say, you stay in here with me for 5 minutes. And then talk about anything but the fight. You never talk about that stuff. They already know what's happened. So you're talking. Then 5 minutes is up. Okay, go back. Watch them like a hawk. Second they start fighting, take the other one out. Go back and forth all weekend. Let's see how much they fight after that. They're going to get so sick of that, yo-yoing back and forth. They're going to stop. They're either going to stop fighting or start whisper fighting. If they're really little, that's a bit different. Like if they're 2 and 1, that's different. The warning, 24 media blackout really works with her. Yeah, I have clients who just do that. They say nothing else works. We just do the 24-hour media blackout. I don't recommend that, just doing that. But if it's working, don't fix what ain't broken. Or just use your words. What? Oh, God. Yeah, I hate that saying, use your words. I hate it. I would never say that to a child. I think it's patronizing. That's like saying to an adult, calm down. Use your words. It's very patronizing. I would never say that to a child or anybody. Oh, sorry, just have to check something. Okay, so you got a 2 and a 1-year-old bickering. You just have to keep them separate or make sure they have the exact same toys. You have to, it's a lot of work. Toddlers are physically demanding. They're a lot of work. You can't teach them to think things through and do what you say. You cannot trust them for that. They're toddlers. They work off of urges and instincts, and they just want what they want, when they want, and how they want it. And they're going to get it. So it's physically, you have to keep them separate or make sure they each have the same toy. That's it. It's physically demanding. Welcome to parenthood. It's physically demanding. I can't help you through that. I can't make toddlerhood any less physically demanding. I just can't. This woman teaches me so much. Excellent. That's why I'm here. And we've all got something to share. So if you've got something, like I've been doing this for 51 years. If you've got something to share, get out there and share it. We can all learn from each other. There's a whole bunch of stuff I don't know. I just understand kids. I always did. I just get them. And I know how to connect with them and get respect. That's it. But a whole bunch of stuff I don't know. So yeah, we've all got stuff to share. Okay, I don't understand this. Jessica, you've been here before. What do you say when your nearly 3-year-old moans and not tell or show you what they want? So they just moans? Why would you give that any attention? That's all they want is attention, I'm assuming. 5-year-old has a strong personality, says comments like, I know mom, pushes boundaries. I don't know specifically what you mean, but that if they're 5, that just means they don't respect you. So work on your leadership skills. Their behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting. So if they're disrespectful and they're being rude, then that's on you. You got to work on your leadership skills. It means that you're not a leader. That's all that means. You haven't got their respect. So just keep watching me. I've got a full course on how to be a leader. If you're interested, that's up in the link above. It's a 5-week course where you can hire me for coaching or just keep watching. I do have a behavior board. That behavior board goes in increments. Like the behavior board, lots of people are getting results with that and then watching my videos. Or the course is just the next level and then coaching is the next level after that. But yeah, it just means it's a tell. It means they don't respect you. And whenever I was working with kids, if I got disrespect or they did something I didn't like and they knew that they shouldn't, I never blamed them. Why would I? Because I'm a leader. Leaders don't blame the kid. Leaders don't blame their followers. They blame themselves. Whenever a kid or a teenager would do something, and I meet some teenagers who do some pretty big stuff, right? And so I would think, what am I missing? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I can't tell you the stories, but in coaching, I talk about this a lot. If I'm working with parents with teenagers, I talk about that a lot. I've got a lot of stories. When I was mentoring troubled teens, they taught me more about life than anyone else ever did. And I always blame myself. So if they did something, I think, what am I missing? What did I miss? Why am I not a good enough leader for that teenager? What am I doing wrong? Now, if I only saw a delinquent, troubled, violent teenager for 1 to 2 hours a week and I blame myself for their behavior, think about it. That's why I teach it's leadership. Because in my presence, if they're disrespectful, that's my fault. Okay. So I'm just waiting for my. Okay. So I'm going to have to go soon. My daughter and her husband are going to be here. Okay, speech delay. How old is he? 5, did you say? Was that the same one that was 5? So I get your names and your questions mixed up. I have to go back. I get dizzy. Oh, nearly 3-year-old. I don't know about that. I don't know the situation. Why is he speech delayed? So every time you talk, someone dies. You're such a positive person. It's like whenever someone spews hate, I think, what misery is sitting behind that? There's misery. You know what's funny is that's why I've never been bullied and negativity doesn't bother me because I understand people. When you're happy, it's impossible to be mean. It's literally impossible. When you're happy, it's impossible to be mean. Okay. Okay. What could I do to not raise my only child to not be what could I do not to raise my only child to be a spoiled brat? Well, just don't indulge them with whatever they want. You meet their needs and you manage their wants. Their wants are all the extras, the PlayStation games, all this. Don't give in to all the stuff that you know is not good for them. Like my kids would never have asked me anything if they knew the answer was going to be no. I was 100% predictable. They knew exactly what I would say at any given time. I never had to say no because they never asked. Why would they ask when they knew I'd say, are you kidding me? I never even said no. I just go, are you kidding me with this? That's what my mother would have said. Are you kidding me with this? Like I would have gone, oh, never mind. That's respect, right? So yeah, oops, sorry, I got so much going on right now. And also, I'm also filming on YouTube right now. And if you're on there, I've got new equipment coming, so you'll see my face. My big audience is on TikTok. I don't know how many followers I've got on YouTube. I think about 1,000 or maybe 2,000, whereas I've got like 570,000 on TikTok. So obviously, this is my bigger audience. Hopefully, I'll get a bigger audience on YouTube. I'm trying to get into that. I can't do everything. Okay, no medical reason. He's getting better, but doesn't speak sentences. Oh, is that a speech delay or he just isn't talking yet? Like, like what I mean by that is some kids just don't really talk much until they're 3, until they start to go to preschool, kindy, all that kind of stuff. My kids were both talking really early, like a lot, but I never shut up. So they were, and I talked to them constantly. So that has a lot to do with it, unless there is some medical reason, or they might just be slower to do it. I knew someone who's now in their 70s. They didn't talk or walk till they were 3 years old. They had a younger brother, 2 years younger, and she'd just point and go like that, and he'd get her whatever she wanted. One day, the joke was, I'm sure it was exaggerated, but the joke was, one day she just got up, full sentences, and ran. Like, just very laid back. She was in no rush. She's still like that, very calm, very laid back person. So yeah. And if they're speech delayed, just because they're not speaking sentences, they can still understand you. So, and a lot of it is, no, and it's a lot of just calm eye contact when you're disciplining. It's a lot of no, and we're not going to do that. Okay, so this is what we do instead. You're not just teaching kids what not to do, you're also teaching them what to do instead. So a lot of parents just correct the bad, but also you want to guide them into doing the right thing. It's about teaching the good more than it is not unteaching the bad. There's probably a better way of saying that. You know what I mean. Do I ignore whinging? Yep. Oh, whinging. You must be Australian. Yeah, I raised my kids in Australia. They don't call it whining. They call it whinging over there. But yeah, I ignore that. I have some methods I do, but I usually only talk about that in coaching because they're a little bit, they're not, I have to be careful with them, put it that way. And also I have different methods with different families. So yeah, it depends. So whinging is something I do often deal with, but on TikTok, my answer is ignore it. My answers in coaching are often very different from my answers here because I get to know them. I get to know what they need. And they're definitely harder hitting. The advice I give in coaching is harder hitting. Not hitting, but you know what I mean? It's more intense because I'm right there to guide you along the way. But here I want to keep it very general so that you can't misconstrue what I say. Whereas in coaching, I explain everything in great detail. So it can't be sort of done wrong. That's a good thing to make a video about. What did I say? I said something good? What was it? Oh, teaching yeah, okay, just let me write that down. You're not just stopping the bad, you're teaching the good behavior. Yeah, that is a good video. We'll do that one. I've done it before, but I've done so many videos now. And I know TikTok's different. It's a different beast than other things. So you got to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again on TikTok. Okay, I'm going to have to go. My daughter and her husband are arriving any minute. And so I have to get going. Anyway, I'm sending out my very first newsletter tonight in about 9 minutes now. So if you're interested, go and sign up for my behavior board and make sure you subscribe so that you'll get newsletters. And I'm going to be sending them out 2 a week now. I'm just starting that up. I've got people helping me with that stuff because I'm overloaded right now. So I've got someone helping me. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. And I'll be back again tomorrow. The link above has everything I've got to offer in bullet form to make it easy for you. Coaching, courses, and my free behavior board. So have a great day. And we'll talk to you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. That's California, Vancouver time. Bye now.